Hello, hello, I'm Squallcasting, and this is StarCraft 2, the best game in the universe. In this game, we have Nightmare. He was featured in a previous game as the villain, but now he's the hero because he sent me this game. So thank you, Nightmare. I am now rooting for you because you sent me this game. His opponent for this game is Amaramopg. Amaram, I guess that feels doable. I actually usually don't look at the names of the players before I go into the replay, so what you see is my initial reaction to how their name sounds. So sometimes it's an interesting experience. So we do have another PvT here, same as the last game I did, except now our hero is a Protoss. So, we'll see what happens. Hopefully he will land those storms, or build those colossi, or whatever he needs to do to win. I hope he does it. And I hope that Amaram has horrible lag, and misclicks everything. I hope he accidentally stims his units 18 times in a row and they just die. I don't think you can actually do that. I'm pretty sure if you hit T twice, the units just stim once. I'm pretty sure the game is designed to protect you against that. Anyway, so Nightmare gonna scoot on in here to scout, or is just gonna do Mortal Kombat with this SCV. SCV has to run away because probes are OP. His friend arrives though, starts repairing him. Boom! There goes the SCV. Does not get to scout if there are any gases, which there are not. So Amaram could be going for a 1-max gasless FE. Oh, and in case I forgot to mention, this is in the Diamond League. I think I did forget to mention that, so yeah. Now, Nightmare is getting his gateway, is getting his gas, so no proxy gateway shenanigans. You don't really see that sort of thing too terribly often anymore. So, but Amaram does get into Scout, sees pretty much everything. The only addition now is a Cyber Core, but you can predict there is always going to be a Cyber Core 100% of the time when you're going up against a Protoss. Just because it's kind of impossible to win with only Zealots if you aren't in the Bronze League. So, yep, the Nightmare going to take his second assimilator. Amaram still doesn't have any gas because he's making a command center. Nice safe in base expansion. Throwing down another barracks, so looks like he's going to go bio. Pretty darn typical in Terran versus Protoss. I'm hoping to eventually see some evolutions in the metagame where maybe Sky Terran becomes, you know, not crazy to see. I did see it once on the IPL, I believe it was, and it was really cool to watch. The guy eventually lost the game, but it actually seemed like a strategy he very clearly thought out, and wasn't just like, I'm just getting screwed, I'm just going battle cruisers. Like he very clearly had a plan. He made pretty much every base except for his main into a planetary fortress, so he was very defensive in that regard. And then, proportionally, his gas income was much higher than his mineral income. Or not much higher, but it was higher than it would usually be, because he didn't have all those mules. And so as a result, he was able to just make air units, and not have, you know, a billion excess minerals if he tried doing that with tons of orbitals. And then the result was the Protoss, he was going against Protoss, couldn't actually kill any of his bases. So, anyway, getting back to the game, so Amaram is moving that command center down now. I would have liked to have seen him make it into an orbital before floating it down, just because the sooner you make it into an orbital, the more mules you get in the long run, because then it starts building up that energy straight away. Not a huge deal, but just a little minor thing that I think would be beneficial. He does have a bunker up front now, so he will be completely safe against this poke from Nightmare. Nightmare probably just wants to get an idea of what's going on. We'll pull back in all likelihood. Yep, there he goes. Marines try to jump out to see if they can get some shots off, but nope. Nightmare has good control. Pulls his Stalker back before it takes any hull damage, and he is expanding himself. Pretty darn typical. Now, the thing that's interesting about the PvT matchup right now, to me, in the early game, is that this 1-max gasless FE is actually, it's really safe. The only thing that can really break it is like a 4-gate all-in, but even then, you know, if you pull your SCVs in time, you could usually repair the bunker up and you're fine. And as a result, the Terran gets his base up very soon, but the standard safe Protoss build just can't get their Nexus up as quickly. So it's interesting seeing this as kind of the standard, where basically the Terran is going to get ahead economically early in the game, kind of no matter what. At least it feels that way to me right now, so it's interesting. Now Nightmare is getting a robo facility. We'll probably make an observer out of there, just so he can make sure that Amaram doesn't have, 4 ghost silos here. Or not ghost silos. Why do I always call them ghost silos? Ghost academies? I think they're called ghost academies. He doesn't have 4 ghost academies here making nukes. That was what I wanted to say until my tongue rebelled against me. Now, Nightmare is adding on more gateways, moving on up to 5 gateways. We're definitely going for a gateway-centric army, nothing too crazy. Actually going for a warp prism. That's fun. So we may see him grab some sentries or zealots and then drop into the base. I was going to say sentries because you could grab the sentries and then force field the ramp, but this isn't really the best map for it. Maybe if he scoots along here and manages to not get seen, drops here, then goes force fields the ramp, and then the army's trapped down here while he's got zealots and stalkers killing stuff here. But okay, looks like he's gonna poke at the front a little bit with some sentries and stalker zealot, 2 more stalkers here, and then use this to harass. But Amaram with the perfectly timed factory scout sees the warp prism. He knows what's up. We'll see if he reacts to it all, or if he missed it. It's always possible to miss things on your minimap, even in the Diamond League. Looks like Nightmare pulling back for now. And, okay, so he's phasing in there. Interesting. I guess he's using this just kind of as a forward pylon, as it were, which he can then relocate later, rather than building a pylon that'll probably get killed eventually. So that's an interesting decision. Or, okay, warping in there, then out phasing in, going to drop in here. Okay, excellent. Now, hopefully he pokes at the front at the same time, just to keep Amaram a little bit distracted. Here we go. Warp Prism, gonna drop Zealots in, starting to cut apart those SCVs. Amaram reacting almost instantaneously. Very nice reflexes. Warping in even more Zealots, and here come all the Marines. But the bunker is empty. It's gonna go down. Very nice 2-pronged aggression. Nightmare is gonna lose all these Zealots, but hopefully his army here can get in and deal some damage. Yep, force fields the ramp, and wow, gonna kill all those SCVs. That's very cool. Phases out the Warp Prism and runs it away. And while he does lose all those zealots, hopefully he will have good force field control. Yep, there we go. Force fields it yet again. And, oh, very nice. Uses medevacs to pick up the SCVs and save them. Not losing nearly as many as he could have. Very nicely played by Amaram, but also very played by Nightmare. Hopefully he will pull back soon, or just continue force fielding. Yeah, I might as well just keep force fielding and then just kill this base. Amaram should definitely look at unloading those SCVs, then moving some Marines down, because he's really going to need them. Otherwise, okay, there we go. Lifting off the orbital, going to run it away now, and Nightmare will probably fall back at this point. Yep, he's dealt plenty of damage, he's happy. Killed 15 SCVs, wow. Well, he killed 1 at the start of the game, so 14. But still very nice. Wow, force fielding again, getting even more damage on the orbital. Faked Amaram out into thinking that he was leaving. And I don't know why he hasn't just picked up into these medevacs. Maybe he's worried about the medevacs getting sniped before they can unload. But that, I don't know. That feels a bit unlikely to me. At the very least, pick up here, drop here, and then flank. And pin in the army and have a guaranteed kill. Oh, but the Warp Prism coming in once again. Kind of throwing away Zealots, to be honest. And the Warp Prism, nope, not quite going to go down. But Nightmare gets to push up again. Deal a little bit more damage. But probably going to need to fall back now, as that's just a little bit too much stuff for him. Force fields the ramp and gets home scot-free. Very nicely played by Nightmare. I love seeing intelligent play like that, where you poke at one place, force a reaction of your opponent, and then attack somewhere else. Very good stuff. And in total, yeah, 17 SCV kills, 1 at the start of the game, so 16 SCVs. Or did he kill the... Actually, no, he did not kill the SCV at the start of the game, now that I think about it. So that was very good, but now he's a little bit vulnerable to a counterattack because he did lose a lot of Zealots in the process. He does have 2 Immortals out now. Those will be able to help with the Marauders if he target fires correctly, and has quite a few Stalkers. He is ahead on supply a little bit, but this army is anti-gateway. This is about as anti-gateway as it gets. once it has stim and medevac support. Does have 1-1 and loading up to do a drop, but that's going to be seen by this. Nightmare hopefully will respond. He is behind on upgrades, so that's definitely going to be a factor in this coming battle, but is warping in 3 forges now to start getting those upgrades. And here comes the Doom Drop. Stalkers warping in to defend. These Stalkers defending here as well. Pick off that army. And here we go. Nightmare going to need to try to control this at least a little bit. Needs to pull back till these forces get here. Doesn't want to fight all alone. Loses a full energy sentry for nothing. But does look like he has enough now to push this back. Amaram, though, looks like he wants to go for it. Stims forward. Lots of fire being exchanged. And it's hard to say. Amaram dealing a lot of damage. Stalkers just don't deal well with stimmed bio at all. But Amaram finally decides to fall back. And Nightmare, wow, still ahead on supply. That's pretty impressive. Ahead on supply, even though he has lost more resources and units. So, and ahead in bank, too. Somehow macroing better than his Terran opponent. Oh, okay. Well, I guess he did kill so many SCVs, and at 56 pros. Wow, that's very nicely saturated at both bases. Nicely done by him. Oh, excuse me. I had a hiccup. And Nightmare transitioning into Colossi, getting external thermal what was that? Extended thermal lances. There we go. That's what I was trying to say. So finishing up right now. First Colossi is out. Second one is on the way. Charge is also being researched. So going to move into that charge lot Colossi force that is pretty deadly. A bunch of marauders give their lives for the cause for no reason. But this army is going to be able to avenge them. Oh, this is looking rough for Nightmare. Oh, okay. Yeah, looks like he's just going to stand and fight. I would have liked to have seen him try to get up the ramp, throw down a handful of force fields just to kind of pin the army back long enough to get up there. But now Nightmare is in a rather rough spot. He has 1 Colossi, and that's it. And Amaram has all this stuff. Wow. Nightmare is just not repopulated very well. And warping in sentries, I think that's a very bad move. You don't want to warp in sentries to fight this. But, oh, okay, a whole bunch of cells back here. Oh, I've been missing a battle down here. Oh, man, this is a base race now. Sweet. I completely missed that. Oh, wow. Okay, well, this is a ton of probes. Looks like he's going to go in with them to try to buffer damage for the Colossi. That Colossi is so close to dying. But if he can pin the bio here, and oh, he's going to pincher them in with the Zealots, that'll be pretty awesome. This Colossi getting a lot of kills, dealing tons of damage, but all the probes are gone. He needs to run it, trying to keep it alive. The Zealots survive, starting to deal damage to his bio. This bio is so low on health. And Amaram GG's out of the game. Nightmare stays in the game a little bit longer just for a victory dance of murdering enemy units that won't fight back. I don't know if Amaram really needs to leave at that point. Well, okay, he was down to 11 SCVs and 18 Zealots. Wow. Okay. Yeah, well, so I guess Nightmare dropped in, and he's still going? His opponent leaves the game, and he's still going. Like, Amaram isn't in this anymore. You look at his vision, he can't see anything because he no longer exists. Maybe he was hitting hotkeys really fast and accidentally hit the, like, stay in game hotkey instead of the score screen hotkey. That would be my best guess. Either that or he wants to... I don't know what he's doing. Or whatever, he's gonna kill these SCVs to celebrate. These Zealots are so very ferocious. Doesn't have any upgrades. Wow. If he'd had upgrades, a lot of those battles would have gone a lot better for him. As upgraded Protoss are so potent. Actually, upgraded anything is so potent. What am I saying? I'm always like, this particular unit with upgrades is really good, but that's kind of the case for every unit in the game. Okay, so I guess he finally realized that his opponent was gone, decided to leave. I'm actually going to go back, and I want to take a look at that drop that happened. Because I 100% missed that somehow. Looks like it's already going here. I'll back up a little bit further. Okay, so the Warp Prism's here. All this fighting's going on here. So at some point the Warp Prism moves in. So I'll speed it up a little bit. And we'll follow this. So yeah, here goes the Warp Prism. And just, wow, the Doom Warp in. Yeah, and then just started kind of killing everything. Yeah, lots of Zealots there. Gonna move up to the natural as well. It could be Amaram just didn't notice it. Yeah, okay, well, he's running his SCVs. Okay, yeah. Well, I guess they did all arrive eventually. Alright. Well, nicely played by Nightmare. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about warping in at the enemy base like that. Just because Terran buildings you can lift off and fly. You know, you don't want to try to base race a Terran opponent. I probably would have felt a little bit better about him warping in Zealots at home and fighting there. Well, how many probes? Okay, well, he'd lost a ton of probes by that point, so I don't know. You know what? He won the game, so he made the correct decision. That's what we'll say. So, yeah, very nicely played by Nightmare. I do love seeing that two-pronged aggression where you force a reaction out of your opponent. And 1A syndrome, like, everyone suffers from it. Even masters, grandmasters level players will have their entire army in one bind. There'll be a single medevac here that will drop units. They'll have their entire army here and defend and move all the way back up here. And then the main army will march in here and just kill the natural. It happens to everyone. So, Nightmare exploiting that to the max. Well played. So thank you guys for watching my video. I do hope you enjoyed it. Please do like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys later.